Okay, welcome back to the second day of testing for Kaitian Rail Ishkur. This is the same ship and the same feat. We will start with fight against Navy Catalyst. This is Blaster Navy Catalyst, so it's an easy kill. My general impression is that you can kill any Navy destroyer with these Kaitian assault frigates with tracking disruptor. Without tracking disruptor, long-range destroyers may become a bit of a problem, especially if we can shoot into your resist hull. But with tracking disruptor, your mitigation is sufficient to just out DPS the opponent. You will see in the future one fight against artillery Navy Thrasher, which is probably the best Navy destroyer against these types of assault frigates, and even when it was pretty easy to deal with. Compared to the Hawk, I think Ishkur is a bit weaker because you have a bit less applied DPS and your opponent can actually kill your drones. This particular opponent does not, but again you will see in the future some opponents actually switch to the drones and they can kill like the entire pack before they go down. Which probably means that you lose like more ISK effectively when you loot from the wreck, which is a bit annoying. But the Ishkur gets the job done anyways. It's just a bit less efficient compared to the Hawk. But of course Ishkur is much better against afterburning frigates because you don't worry too much about applied damage with drones. Okay, next fight is against the Kikimora. I think I should pause here and explain the math a bit. So, if you fight against Kikimora in Assault Frigate, ideally you want to have an anti-kiting feat, similar to what I showed you when I was testing Rocket Hawk previously. If you go kite against kite, it's significantly more difficult. The reason why it's difficult, so let's say this is a Kikimora, and Kikimora with the longest range ammo has a range of 45 kilometers, and you cannot fight within DPS range of his ship, because tank to DPS of Kikimora is just superior to you. You are never going to win the DPS race. And it spools pretty fast as well. So without tracking disruptor, like kite against kite, I would say don't even bother. You're just never going to win this. With tracking disruptor, you drop the range from 45 to about 24. So you get like 4 kilometers of safety between the Kikimora DPS range and the edge of your tackle range, which is 28 with Tick 2. With Tick 2 Warp Disruptor. Again, it's not really realistic to force a kill from the position of force, but you can at least try to do something. So you can dip in and out of the DPS range, like break the spool, and like just let your ship or your drones deal the damage. And at some point, like you continue doing this, and at some point you may feel like you win the DPS race, and after that you commit. And hopefully, like Kikimora still has slightly worse control than you. So if you want to actually keep it within the tackle range, you can. The problem is, of course, that you probably cannot tank for a very long time in this situation. But this is something you can at least play. Try to play out. And here, this is not really like the best execution. Again, I test a couple of ideas, like I try to break the tracking and see if it works. It does not really work, unfortunately, which is honestly something that I should have known. And when I switch to the strategy that I talked about, so now I'm out of DPS range, I broke the spool on Kikimora, and now I'm dipping back to the DPS, to the tackle range again. But you need some cooperation. Like here, you see that he is trying to bail. And now he starts to spool again, and I cannot stay here for long because still I need to kind of break the spool again before I can commit to actually win the DPS race. Kikimora still has a bunch of hit points left. But here he just bails. You can see he overheated his macro warp drive and he bails. And there is really nothing you can do in these situations. You don't have superior control. You have a little bit better control, but it's not superior to kind of keep the Kikimora forced on grid. This fight, unfortunately, I forgot to hit the recording, and it was actually a pretty good fight. It was against Algos and Dragoon, and they almost caught me on the warping, which is actually one of the reasons why I decided to switch the Locus rig to the polycarbon. And I had to, like, they tried really hard to slingshot me, but eventually I managed to clear the Algos, and then against Dragoon is pretty straightforward. And also you see why I use Caldera Navy Hornets, like in these prolonged fights, when the opponents actually primary the drones, you see that I am down to like 6 drones only. And this is the tankiest set of drones. So you need at least one set of tanky drones. Otherwise, many of the destroyers will just kill off your drones, and it will get a bit weird after that. Because your gun damage is really not that great. So here is the Algos, pretty standard Algos. Here is the Dragoon. Okay, the next fight is against Kikimora. This is Shadow Cartel -10 Kikimora. So I take it pretty slow. I just aggress my drones and pull back because I want to just get a sense of the fit of this Kikimora. And I do not want to reveal anything about my fit yet, so you can see that I do not reveal that I have tracking disruptor. I just drop my drones and burn in circle. It makes sense to do this against opponents that are unlikely to warp out, and it's quite unlikely that a guy in Kikimora will just bail immediately against the Ishkur. It just makes no sense, because Kikimora is a stronger ship objectively. So you can do these maneuvers around opponents like this. And here I get an important bit of information. So I can see that this is not a micro warp drive Kikimora, like a typical shield micro warp drive Kikimora. This is actually a 10MN Kikimora over prop. So firstly, you can clearly see that it's not shield tanked. You are not gonna drop a shield tank Kikimora down to like 30% shields this quickly. And from the speed, from the acceleration, you also can see that this is not micro warp drive. It's still going up, and it's going up slowly. Yeah, this is clearly not macro warp drive. And in these situations, this is actually doable. So what you do against this Kikimora is that you position yourself like this. So this is his movement vector, and you make your movement vector going in parallel. And your distance should be within your point range, but outside the DPS range of Kikimora. So DPS range of Kikimora is approximately 25. And well, without links it would be 28. But since I have links, I can go like 30 plus, technically. And if Kikimora was using macro warp drive, he could have escaped from this situation, like just double click somewhere, and you would lose this position. But since it's 10mm Kikimora, the agility is extremely poor, and he cannot really turn anywhere and change this positioning. So in the future, like you can think of it, the distance will stay the same. So you still will keep him tackled, but you will stay outside of a DPS range of Kikimora. And when you just wait until you win the DPS race, and after that you commit, and that's it. So yeah, you will see that this is a bit too far, so I move a bit closer, but not too close. Yeah, you need to do some clicking, some manual piloting here. Yeah, like 20, 24, 25 is perfect. Yeah, so I just stabilize here and I just wait. One final note about this fight is that it's actually, I think it's mid-grade snakes. Typical 10mm Kikimoras go like 3000 with hit. If you add some event boosters, it's maybe like 3.3 maybe. So 4.3 means that it's a snaked Kikimora, sure. But since I have links, it doesn't really matter. But without links, you can see that my top speed is only 4k. This is with links. And I can kind of keep up. But without links, it would have been a problem. I had to hit my macro warp drive, and of course you can only hit your macro warp drive for 3 cycles, which is not enough here. So I need to keep an eye on that. When I lose my links, I know what time on a timer, and I hit my macro warp drive and commit. So I just wait, I wait. I'm still perfectly positioned. 25 kilometers is away. It's too far from him for him to DPS me. And I wait. My links run out and I hit. Yeah, right here. And now I commit. So now I'm on a timer because he will burn away from me at some point. I need to close the distance. And this is what I do. He switches on my ship a bit too late. He could have switched like, I think 10 seconds earlier. But I still have ADC. So it's not a problem. Somewhere here I hit the ADC. And finish him off. Kikimora actually wasn't that expensive. This specific one. I think he had some cheap abyssal modules, but nothing crazy. But this tactic works only against 10mm. Against yeah, you can see nothing too crazy. Against macro warp drive Kikimoras, this is not going to work. Next is a fight against another Algos multiboxing pack. Can't really test the assault frigate without fighting against a bunch of multiboxers at least once nowadays. Here I like try to use the drone DPS so I can drop my drones, aggress them, and then just burn away. And hope that the drones kinda will do their own thing while I kite the cloud of their drones, and I actually attack the trigger as well correctly. Here they aggress my drones, and I have to go a bit closer and kinda make them attack me. Because if they shoot my drones, they have so much DPS that they will just kill all of my drones, and it's not going to work long term. So I kind of bait all the drones on me, and then I just align out and hope that my drones will be able to get a kill before their drones will be able to get a kill on me. But nope, does not work. Yeah, nothing you can do, unfortunately. You are not fast enough even with links to outrun warriors, and even when you burn in the straight line, they still have enough speed to kind of DPS you down eventually. So yeah, 5 Algoses, as I said in the previous video, are not really killable, unfortunately. This is the fight that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. This is Artillery Thrasher, and I kind of tried again. I tried to use optimal range disruption and then tracking speed disruption, but eventually I figured that optimal range disruption is just better. You will get hit occasionally, but the effective DPS is really not that great. You will probably force your opponent into like uranium, and when the fall off plus like natural sig mitigation will just make you mitigate too much damage, and you will win the DPS race eventually anyway. I had another fight against Artillery Thrasher later on that I did not record, unfortunately. I will talk a bit in a minute. And it went exactly the same. So just like orbit 18, track and disrupt on optimal range, and you will win the DPS race. He switched, the other guy switched to my drones, and he actually killed a bunch of my drones, which is one of the annoying things about the Ishkur. Like you lose so many drones, and they are not that cheap actually. But it gets a bit annoying. Yeah, so after this day, I actually in this session, this Ishkur didn't die, and I had another session afterwards, but unfortunately I messed up my OBS settings, and instead of recording my main, I recorded one of my other accounts for the entire evening, and I just didn't get the footage from this day. But fortunately, you did not miss much. I had a draw against Armor, which I just couldn't control. When I had a draw against Navy Omen and 2 light missile Jackdaws, because Jackdaws just pushed me off the grid eventually with the long range light missile damage. And when I had a fight against Navy Thrasher, Artillery Navy Thrasher, what I mentioned, and like a 15-man assault frigate gang landed on the Plex, and I got too greedy trying to get a kill, and they just blocked me. And that's it. So the total score was, I think, 12 kills, 5 draws, and the eventual loss. So a bit better than with a Hawk, but I just was quite lucky in a couple of situations. It's not really because the Ishkur is much better. This is another Plaster Catalyst, and this guy actually tries really hard. He tries to slingshot me a couple of times very well, And when he kills my drones, so he is like, he's trying really hard, but you can't do much when your opponent has skirmish links. Yeah, I don't even manually pilot, I just stay on auto orbit because my point is so long that I really don't care about his maneuvers on grid. Yeah, he starts shooting my drones eventually. I think I switched to tracking script, trying to kind of make it a bit easier for my drones. But it doesn't really matter. This is just how these fights are going to go. If your opponents like really try to squeeze everything out of a fight, destroyers will just start killing your drones, and you will lose like probably a full pack or even a bit more. Yeah, this is just the way this ship works. Yeah, switch to tracking, but I don't think it helps that much. He still continues to blob my drones one after the other. But even if you lose all of your drones, which never really happened to me, you still have like 100 DPS out of your guns, so usually you can finish off your opponent. My final thoughts for this ship, pretty solid. I think in the current meta, with lots and lots of destroyers around, I would probably slightly prefer the Hawk, but in general they are pretty equal. Ishkur is a bit better against frigates and a bit more flexible. Hawk is a bit better against destroyers. So really up to you, whatever you want to use. Both are perfectly fine. Okay, next I will test the close range Ishkur, blaster Ishkur. I think it should be a bit faster, because blaster ships naturally die quicker. And I will record a separate video about that. See you in this separate video.